Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. I wanted to comment on a couple of things I saw this morning, watching stock market and business finance news. Saw an interview with Randy Weingarten, the American Federation of Teachers president, on CNBC early this morning. She was being interviewed by two hosts. One of them was Brian Sullivan, and they were talking about getting schools open and how it's got to be safe. And it always rolls around on CNBC to inequality, and this Brian Sullivan got on his high horse about unfairness, how unfair the system is because broadband access is not available to the poor, and that they can't afford computers, and it's not fair. And he came at one point and asked, should we even open schools? Shouldn't we skip schools for a year? And she said, absolutely not. And he said, well, why not? He asked, why not? Why can't we skip schools for a year? These kids are never going to be able, the ones that are underprivileged, that don't have access to broadband, that don't have access to computers, they're never going to catch up to the other ones. It's inequality. That's what this Brian Sullivan guy was talking about. Can you believe this is like, they pay this guy? It's like, how can you even contemplate not opening schools because there's some kids that are not going to have the same equipment, the computers, the same accesses to internet? That exists now, that problem. So you're not going to open schools. So you're going to take away from the ones that do have it, the ability to learn. So you'd rather have nobody learn. Rather have nobody learn how to read, how to write, how to do math. Instead of trying to figure out how do we help the ones that don't have this stuff, it's we should close the schools. That is Brian Sullivan. That is liberal. That is CNBC. That is what the aim is here. Do not aspire to greatness. Do not aspire to success. Do not aspire to achievement, because that takes effort. That takes work. That takes sacrifice. It's much easier to get people that have achieved and drag them down. Bring them down, penalize, take from them. I don't know who it was that said many, many years ago, they asked them, what would happen if we took all the wealth? They talk about this wealth inequality and the redistribution of wealth and what's happening. And I forget who it was. I want to say it was Getty they asked, but it may not have been. But I know they asked somebody. What would happen if we took all the money in the world and evenly divided it among everyone, all the inhabitants? And you know what the guy said? He was a very successful entrepreneur, billionaire, millionaire. I think it was Getty. He said, within 5 years or a period of time, he said, it'll all be back in the hands of the people that know how to make money and how to keep it. That's what this is, okay? So we have that. Then in the afternoon, I hear an interview that Sarah Eisen gives on with the former Mark Cohen, who's a former Sears Canada CEO. And she's there asking him about a classic, says, talking about retail, the state of retail today. And he's a professor also. And she says, what are you going to tell your kids in the class you teach, the class of about failing retail that you teach? He goes, I don't teach classes about failing retail. He goes, I teach classes about opportunity and success and new industries and new technology and new opportunities that exist in this country and how to take advantage of them. Strike one. Do your homework, lady. And she's always on the bandwagon of first woman and woman equality, and there's not enough female CEOs. She's like, it's constant. But a man can't make the mistake that she made. Then she starts talking about Macy's in particular, and she says to him, was Macy's problem management? Because, they had such great CEOs and they were people that were highly regarded, and she went naming off 3-4 CEOs, highly regarded, and one of them was a Wall Street darling. And how could it be a management issue? He says, again, I take exception with what you're saying. There was a management issue. Macy's hasn't been well led like Amazon or Facebook or Google or Walmart. They have not had good leadership. Their CEO leadership has been the last man standing thesis. Schooled again. Schooled again. How can an inept interview as that, how can such an inept interview be not pointed out? How can it not be not pointed out? The guy just took her to school, took her to task, and it's incredible. The double standard that exists in this country is incredible. Anyway, those are a couple of the points that I wanted to talk about that I heard about today. And looking at some of the polls and some of the stuff that I'm reading, and Trump's gaining a lot of momentum right now. Biden is going to be forced out of his cave. He's going to have to come out and debate him, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. It's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to feel bad for Joe Biden when Trump is done with him. But, it's got to happen. It's the calling of the weak. And you can't get much weaker than Biden. Trained under Obama, and the weakness was passed down and inherent. Well, it's been inherent in him since he's been a career politician. But that's where we stand. Do ask the subscribers to subscribe. I would ask you to subscribe. We got a little flat the last 2 days. Haven't had new subscribers. I think that we're doing the best we can. We're bringing you the information. We're giving you our opinions, giving you our views, inviting people to give us information back, and we look forward to continuing doing so. But do need your support. Ask you to subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.